Howdy y'all. Today we're climbing in Auburn State Park, which is a beautiful state park here in California, about 30 minutes from where I'm staying in Nevada City, working for the Forest Service. So just a second ago, we went up this little crack and went over up top here. Had my first experience belaying for lead, so that's really cool. And now we're setting up a top rope over here. This one was a 5'7". The one we're setting up over here is a 5'9" or a 5'8", but it's pretty long. I think it's the longest climb I'll have ever done. It kind of follows this crack up here and over and so on. So you just heard me rambling on and on about 5'7", 5'8", and all of this. What those are difficulties of the trails on the wall, essentially. So most climbers use the Yosemite rating system, which essentially the 5 means you need a rope for it, and the point, and then whatever number comes after that, it can go up to like 14. That's, you know, as difficult as it can get. So this area here, they have primarily 5'6" through 5'12". So friends, just a little lowdown on a few different types of climbing that you'll see in a crag like this. There's, first of all, top rope climbing, which is where up at the top of the route, you'll see like 2 big hooks. From those hooks, you basically just run your rope down and through, and then you use that as your whole system to keep your rope secure. Very similar to what's done in a lot of climbing gyms. Then there are 2 main types that you see really out in the crag, and that is sport climbing and trad climbing. Sport climbing is a lot of what we're doing out here right now. We haven't done any trad this trip, but we might talk about that in a future trip, in a future video. But basically, sport is where you'll see these little metal clips in the wall, and you use a carabiner with some fabric and a second carabiner to clip into the wall and then clip into the rope, and that's what secures you to the wall if you take a fall. And that allows you to climb up the wall and set protection as you go all the way up until you get to the top. Then you rappel down, and then a second person or you go up again, and then you take all your clips off and then come down off those hooks and pull your rope back out through. Then lastly, there's trad climbing, which is where instead of having actual metal bolts in the wall, you have devices that can get friction grip on the wall, like little cams and little just tiny weird shapes that have a thing coming out from it that you can clip into, basically. So you're setting your own anchor points, and it's a little bit more risky, and you have to be very careful when you're conducting that sort of climbing. But that's really cool to get into some really remote areas that obviously you don't want to disturb by pounding in metal stakes and stuff like that. So those are sort of the 3 main types of climbing that you see out here, or just generally in mainstream climbing. So I hope that clears things up a little bit for you guys. So friends, the area that we're climbing in is actually an old decommissioned quarry that was turned back over to the Bureau of Reclamation and consequently converted into a whole climbing area. This happened between the 80s and 90s when a lot of the routes were first set, and then there was a really bad tragedy that occurred in this area in the 90s that involved a fatality, which was really unfortunate. But that closed down the whole area from the mid-90s until the early 2010s, I believe, in like 2011 or 2012, with work of several nonprofits. They managed to get this whole area reopened and keep it upkept and safe for everybody. So that's really awesome that we're able to be using this area. It's relatively new and old at the same time. It's kind of cool. All right, friends, so if you're thinking about going out and getting some climbing gear and maybe you have a friend that knows what they're doing, or you're going to go out with a class or start climbing at a gym, above all else, just be respectful. Be respectful of the other folks around you at the crag, at the gym, wherever. And be respectful of the environment. You know, don't be marking up the rocks with graffiti or with chalk. Unless you're like marking a hazard or something like that, it's a little more acceptable, but you don't want to be trashing the place. You don't want to be leaving your garbage. Really look out for the environment. As you can see, there's all sorts of different chalk on these walls, and that's some sort of a concern for the sustainability, how long it's good for. And a lot of these holds have been getting polished, and that means it's really high use. So that's unfortunate, but that's also just kind of how it is. Fortunately, this whole climbing area is built into an old quarry, and it starts from the quarry road trailhead, go figure. So this was already all disturbed, and it's kind of not raw nature, if you will. So hanging up chains in an old quarry and putting chalk on the walls seems all right, and it seems like a good use that you can still appreciate the land that we have, even after it's been affected by resource extraction. So friends, here's another great use for that Dan Durston DD40 backpack I made a video on a few months ago. You can see it up here if you want. I use it for a bunch of this climbing equipment, and it makes it really easy for that little approach walk into the field. Definitely works really well. So friends, we're now leaving day 2 of climbing out here. We did a couple of good routes today, but honestly we're a little broken from the other day. We were out here for like 7 hours just climbing. So we had a good time today though. We definitely did some stuff that was a little bit outside of our comfort zone, or things that were labeled as in our comfort zone and were unexpectedly more difficult than we anticipated. So that was a lot of fun. And yeah, it's been a really wonderful day of climbing and exploring here in Auburn State Recreation Area. I know I said earlier Auburn State Park, State Recreation Area. A little bit different. Still managed by the state though. Anyway, we're gonna now go take a hike and take a little dip in the river to cool off before our hike. All right, a huge shout out to Sean here for literally showing me the ropes with all this climbing stuff out here in California. He is also, aside from a very talented climber, also a very talented artist. And you can check out his awesome work over at Tilted Barrel Acrylics on Instagram. Definitely go and check him out. He's very, very talented, does some really beautiful art over there. So give him some love. And thanks for the climbing stuff, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, yeah. Anytime.
All right, friends, just getting back to the car. Just wanted to take an opportunity to say thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, hit that thumbs up button. Helps more than you know. And hit that subscribe button. We're really close to 1,000 subscribers. Please help me get towards that goal. Thank you so much for watching again. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay groovy.